Hi, it's Jen. Sorry I missed last week. I've been trying to update progress on my game development every week or so. Last week was kind of a rough week. I struggling through some seasonal sinusitis, and because of the COVID situation, I had to go get a test, especially since I work with my coworkers and with the public and stuff. It's just better safe than sorry. With the weather on top of all that too, wasn't a very productive week for me as far as game development went, but I did get some extra needed rest and got to spend some time with my son. So yeah, I just thought I'd share one of my illustrations that I've been working on for the endings. I don't know that these will be finished by the time I make my next update. I'm almost done writing all of the endings. There is 6 endings per companion choice. So right now with Mikhail and Keska combined, there's 12 endings, and it's taken me longer than I thought it would. I just wanted to talk a little bit about that while I'm at it. The hardest part for me with developing this game is with the scripting, and it's especially difficult for me because when I'm writing, it's not that the ideas are difficult to come up with or the dialogue is difficult to come up with, but I need to have the time and space to be able to hear myself think. I have to be able to hear the characters' words in my head, and sometimes I even need to say them out loud. And in order to get into that mindset, at that moment of quiet, where I can really hear myself think, it's difficult when you're a working mom, I guess, especially. It's hard to get that uninterrupted time, especially because as I've been working through these endings, I'm trying to keep track of all these possible scenarios in my mind as to what the player might have experienced or definitely experienced by the time that they reach that ending. So I guess trying to keep those things in mind, it became gradually more and more overwhelming since the beginning. So when I first started development, SoulUnion, the first chapter, scripting that was actually pretty fast. Even though I had all 4 companions in my first draft of the first chapter, it was the fastest chapter for me to script because even though I had 4 different companions, I didn't have all the branching choices out yet, and gradually, every chapter deeper that I got into development, the amount of variables, the amount of changes that might differ from playthrough to playthrough increased, so I would have to keep track of more things in my mind. And my game isn't one where you have completely separate branching paths. For the most part, they kind of branch out and then they come back into the main storyline, and then kind of branch out a little bit and then come back in. I try to reel it in so that it doesn't go start completely deviating in multiple different directions where it becomes like a monumental task for me to have to write every possibility. I do believe that when you're developing a game, I don't want to waste a lot of energy creating a lot of very niche kind of content where maybe only 10%, 1% of the players are going to experience. That's not where I want to spend 50% of my time or even 10% of my time. The amount of time I spend making something, I want to have the majority of players partake in that. I want them to experience, what I'm creating, and I don't want to waste a lot of energy. But at the same time, you want to make meaningful choices. So it's a tough kind of little conundrum that we're stuck in. So like any good budget project, we have to make concessions and make decisions on where we're going to cut the fat, where we're going to spend most of our time developing and our resources. And in my case, my biggest resource is really time, right? So there's a lot of things that I would have liked to have finished by the time that I am updating the project again. I wanted to have these illustrations finished, the ones that the one that I'm showing here. I wanted to have edits finished. I basically wanted to have a polished experience for at least the 2 companions that I have implemented, Keska and Mikhail. I don't know that I'm going to be finishing all that by the time I release the next build, because I do have the majority of the endings finished. I plan on having at least the polished draft finished by the end of the month, and I know that some of you are just probably that's what you're most interested in, is just having some conclusion to what's been building up so far. So I think I am going to go ahead and make a release once I finished the endings and wait for your guys' feedback. There will be some more updates after to kind of polish off some of the routes. I want to re-examine especially the romance routes and just make sure that they're as cohesive as I can make them. Try to strengthen the general theme again. I definitely need to edit grammatical and spelling checks. Have got to be done, and there's some places I would still like to put unique artwork. So, and of course my friend Carrie is going to be implementing sound gradually. So this next update will probably be a big one, but it won't be a complete one. I would have liked to have something more complete, but I think it would be better for me to release what I've got, so that way if any of you have any feedback that you'd like me to take a look at and re-examine, then I can incorporate those kind of changes while I'm going back and editing for spelling and grammar and general story flow. If there's anything that anyone can see improvement for, I love getting suggestions. So one of my friends is an avid romance reader, and I'll just be honest, it's not really my cup of tea. So getting her feedback on the romance routes was really, really helpful. And I think I have made some improvements since the initial draft, but I know that there's still room for more improvement on that. Even some of the feedback that I've gotten that was just like, this area was kind of confusing, or I wasn't really sure what happened during this part of the story, like that is all very, very welcome feedback. It's not my intention to confuse the reader or to be so vague that you don't understand what's happening. So if at any point in the story you have a disagreement with how I presented something, or if you're confused about what I was trying to say, or you're just flat out bored, I would love to hear about it, and at least I can be mindful of it and see what's within my ability to try and improve upon. This drawing that I captured, you can kind of tell that at one point I had to start blocking in colors because I couldn't tell what was going on with my line work anymore. Doing these more intimate kind of poses together, their hair and their costumes, was proving to be kind of difficult for me to keep track of, like all the little details and stuff. So I think I was using multiple layers, like their hair and feathers was like a different layer, their faces, and then their general anatomy was like a separate layer from like their costumes and details and stuff. So at some point I just had to start going in and blocking colors so that I could tell what was on top of what, and I could even erase the line work and clean up the line work properly. So I feel like I'm just rambling now, and I'm kind of struggling here to keep my voice and everything, so I guess that I will just leave it at that. I am really excited to share with what I've got. I'm really hoping that the endings don't disappoint. I know I've been building up to a lot, and to be honest, I feel like projects are always easiest to start and always hardest to finish. I hope that the endings are satisfactory and look forward to any feedback that anybody is willing to give me on ways that I can to better improve perhaps the endings if they fall short. I hope that you're all healthy and safe and doing something in your everyday lives that brings you some comfort and joy, and enjoy the process. Thanks very much. Thanks again so much for following my project and for all your support. And please be well. Take care. Bye-bye.